Okay, as part of the changes to the greenhouse with tearing the plastic off of it, the tomatoes had gotten so tall above this climbing fence and then the wires that I'd run around to help cage them and contain them. It's not even funny. From the gravel, they're almost 5 foot tall now. So as you can see, well, some of them anyway, you can see that one up there, the outer one that's got the white string running down on it. I'd actually mentioned to my brother-in-law yesterday that I was going to have to run a wire from hoop to hoop, as I've got it run up here, that wire running across that the strings are tied on, and drop strings down to support some of the taller tomato plants and give me somewhere to support future tomato plants that are getting up there. And a couple hours later, sure enough, the most outer one there had folded over and was actually bent over the top of this climbing fence that I have up here, and it was kinked pretty severely. So I went ahead and ran the wire. I thought I was going to lose the upper half of that plant from the kink up. I put a string on it, but right now it's looking pretty good, and it looks like it came back from the kink fairly well. So hopefully that will survive. And I went ahead and I tied a couple of strings to the center or ridge pole, whatever you want to call it, of the greenhouse up there. I dropped some down to the plants that were closer to the front of the grow bed. I ran a couple more to the wire that I have up there. I came out here into this runner that the plastic was attached to. A couple of the ones that had leaned further out, I went ahead and tied to this ridge pole. I'll let them stay out there. And I tied some more up. This one I just had a wire the other day. When I took the plastic down, it started to fall over. Oh, sorry about that. About to sneeze. And there's a little tomato coming in right there. Yay. But was trying to fall over, so I cut a little piece of wire, which is all I had handy at the time, and tied it back nice and loose to the wire. This one I managed to bend back around and put inside. It was hanging outside. This one I put a zip tie on that was already there. I just opened the zip tie up and put it back. And then higher up on it, I had to tie a string, and I ran it up and tied it to the wire right where the wire is twisted around the hoop. And then there were a couple more up on the front side that I tied strings to keep them supported back to the wire cage that I had around it. Now, that original wire cage, I just had some pieces of conduit that I stuck into the corners of the grow bed, or just outside the grow bed, the corner of the enclosure. Drilled some holes in them. I tied wire from pole to pole to pole, and then I went across in the center and across in the center the other way to make a cage to contain the plants. But knowing it wasn't going to be quite tall enough, but not really expecting things to get as tall as they did, or planning on doing something else in the future to help contain them, and just procrastinating like I normally do. But the tomatoes are now well supported. The butternut squash, some of it's down on the ground in the front, which was fine. I expected it to do that. The kohlrabi bed is clear. I've got butternut squash. When I pulled it out of the kohlrabi bed, some of it went down to the ground in the back. Some of it I pulled over to the chicken wire fence that's going to keep the rabbit out. And some of it's on the ground on this side, and it's actually attached itself to the frame of the IBC cage underneath right there. Is what it's clinging to as it grows across, and then it fell, the other end of it's on down on the ground, spreading out, which is fine. I don't care. Let it go on the ground. I just needed it out of the other grow beds so that I can plant them, and that it won't completely cover up the other plants there. So apparently some caterpillars were getting going. I sprayed some soapy water on them yesterday, and I think that got rid of most of them. There's one right there. Let me get him real quick. I need to get some more soapy water in my little sprayer here. I need to spray neem oil this weekend. Oh, there's a bunch of them right there. But I'm going to spray neem oil this weekend and try to get ahead of the insects that are coming in. The tomatoes look pretty clear right now, which is a good thing, because I've got several tomatoes starting to come in now that I've spotted around. Matter of fact, there's two right there. There's one there, one there. Then I've got that one that's about the size of a tennis ball down underneath, and a few other little ones like that that are just now starting to come in scattered around. So real happy about that. Butternut, I had a ton of squash on it, but some of them for some reason just started dying back. I don't really know. It's the first time I planted butternut before, but I pulled it up when the gnat larva got so bad, and nothing I was trying was seeming to work. Now I think I've got a handle on how to get rid of them. When they do crop up, I can knock them back down really fast. Right there, I've got a lot of ants in the butternut. You see all those ants in that leaf right there. So I think I need to go around and spray around the beds for the ants to try to keep them from getting in. And this bed overfills for some reason every now and then, so I need to work on that. I think there's ants actually in the gravel, so I'm probably going to flood it and leave it flooded for a day or so and try to cut back on that. Now the white kohlrabi that was actually by mistake got put in the tube system I don't know if it was just taking the plastic off the greenhouse so it started getting more sun or what. And boy, that's a lot of eggs. I'm gonna spray that, kill those eggs off. Sorry about that. Anyway, it started wilting back really bad. Of course, the new growth is looking a lot better. Of course, yesterday in the middle of the day with the sunlight, it was kind of limp again. So I don't know if it's the extra exposure to the sunlight or what, but several of the plants are showing signs of distress. This one, a lot of yellowing of the older leaves, although the newer growth still looks good. The same thing here, leaves starting to die off, and it's not an iron deficiency issue this time. I've been pretty good about adding iron. Not perfect, but good. So I think it might be just from taking the plastic off, and now they're getting hit with wind, and the direct sunlight is having an impact on the plants. But that's where things are at right now. I've been really busy with the system, and I plan to keep going at it.